Hey there and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of this honor mode walkthrough with our Dark Urge Halfling Bard Sylvia Hairyfoot. Last time we left off, after successfully completing what can rightfully be called the climax of Act 1, we defended the Emerald Grove against Minthara and her Goblin raiders, not to mention that we took a few long rests beforehand, during which we not only learned more about Gale and had another visit from the mysterious Dream Guardian, but we also underwent an absolutely insane procedure at the hands of Volo to remove the tadpole, with little success I might add, and we also spent a romantic night with Astarion, a night that unfortunately also led to the video being restricted for monetization. I had kind of anticipated that and want to take a moment here to say thank you to all of my channel supporters, whether it's here on YouTube or over on Patreon. Your generous support gives me the freedom to leave the video up unaltered, so that none of you miss out on the full juiciness of Astarion's romance, even if it means that the video earns me little to no ad money. Now, today then is going to be an episode full of celebration and maybe even more romance. Let's begin by speaking to the Tiefling defenders up here on the gate.
You didn't have to come back. Thank you.
To think I was scared of a bloody drow. Should have known better. We had you.
What a mess. I wonder if the goblins have anything valuable on them.
And Nadira here makes a very good point. We have unleashed a whole lot of carnage on the goblins, but we have not actually looted any of them yet.
Why have you not tried to lay with me, Astarion? It is in your nature to have tried. You have not.
No, and you're so charming and alluring. It's baffling, really. I guess it shall have to remain a mystery, now and forevermore.
Right, looks like after last episode's breakup, if you will, Lae'zel is looking for more. Astarion is not having it though, and honestly, I can't say I blame him. Now, in terms of loot, the aftermath of the goblin attack on the grove here is actually rather disappointing. The goblins only carry what goblins usually carry when we loot them. The booyaks at least come with a few spell scrolls, but neither the ogre nor the two sword spiders carry any loot whatsoever. Considering the scale and difficulty of this fight, that is, if you don't solve it the way we did, I think there could have been a bit more. As we then go on to loot the last few bodies here, the terrain also suddenly changes. All of the ash and soot from the barrel explosions vanishes. The bodies, however, thankfully remain. Crucially, that also includes the body of Minthara, who is not dead but only unconscious. Once more, the reasons for that will become clear down the line. For now, since we have looted her already, we can return to the Emerald Grove interior, where we find plenty more tieflings assembled around the campfire here, all with a few lines of dialogue for us.
When I heard they had a drow, gods, but I can't believe we did it. You did it.
I'm glad you came through it alive. We owe you. More than we can repay.
We survived. Who would have thought? It looks like I might have to pay you after all. Once we get to the city, of course.
And yes, you may recall that quite a while back we made a bet with her about the Tiefling's survival, a bet that we can collect on a bit early here with the persuasion option. A DC of 5 hasn't been any trouble for Sylvia for quite some time now.
You know, that actually sounds pretty good. If you drink as well as you fight, we'll have a lot of fun.
Now it's back to the road, I suppose. Never ends, does it?
Now, we did not lose any tieflings in the fight, but the very first goblin attack caused a casualty. Cannon's grave can be found over here.
We actually did it. We thrashed the lot of them.
It won't bring the dead back, but that felt good.
And that concludes this group, but of course there's more.
What's this? Mattis, this is junk. Waste of effort hauling it with us.
No, there's collectors in the city. They'll pay good coin for it, I swear.
Fine, but you're carrying it yourself.
I'm glad you didn't die. No discounts once I'm running the wider Baldur's Gate mind.
Mattis says we should say thank you.
Don't know why everyone's cheering. We're just going back on the road.
Gods, it seems we might actually make it to the city now. Hope the neighbors are a bit more welcoming.
And as you can see, there's even more tiefling children currently being entertained by Rika.
Elturel didn't want us, and those druids sure as hell didn't either. But you risked your life for us.
I told you I wasn't afraid. Those goblins look tiny. It smells bad out here. I want to go home.
I left my sword in the cave. Don't tell, but I don't want to touch it again.
Bah! At your age, I'd already spilled my own cousin's blood. Face your fear, or it will devour you.
You saved us! Just like Baldur.
Still alive. Still alive. Thank you.
That's it. We can head to the city. Don't know about you, but I'm ready to start my life again.
The 2 oxen are also part of the Tiefling Party. Their strange mate, however, is curiously missing.
That was fun. I want to stomp more of the small, dirty 2 legs.
The younglings are a nuisance. But the road would not be the same without them. Thank you.
At this point then, we are almost done. Just a few more tieflings remain.
We made it somehow. Now we just need to get to Baldur's Gate.
Back to worrying about road rations it is. So many mouths to feed, but, well, that's not a bad problem to have. Thank you, truly.
That was too close.
Timora smile on us.
But Elturel. Don't let that place cast a shadow on your head forever.
Now, stop.
I guess things are already better. I've learnt a lot.
There we go, boy. Now, back to packing.
Yes, no? Check twice myself.
One sorrow ended, the next soon to begin.
We didn't die today. Tomorrow, perhaps, but not today. Thanks to you.
Baldur's Gate, we're coming.
So, Arabella's family is still together after everything that happened. We had a hand in that multiple times.
We couldn't have held them back on our own. Thank you.
And finally, let's see how the party of our mighty wizard Roland is doing.
Glad to see some goblin blood spilled for a change. We're sick of running from those rats.
The road to Baldur's Gate will be easy compared to that. Thanks. For keeping these people safe. For keeping us safe.
All that fuss and for what? I barely call that a fight.
Well, for a change, I honestly can't blame him for that assessment. After all, we did absolutely everything in our power to not really make it a full-blown fight. And as we now venture deeper into the hollow, we encounter some of the druids again.
By the trees. I don't know what I dreaded more. The goblins or being stuck here with Kagha for the rest of my days. But you've solved both those problems in one go.
Now perhaps it's best if we don't show our more bloodlusty side here, so yeah, we're just glad we could help.
As am I. And I'm sure those poor refugees would quite agree.
Now at this point then, we also want to trade with Aaron once more. His inventory will not have refreshed, but there is one item I want to purchase. In exchange for the goblin loot, we can obtain the Spell Thief, a regular bow that once per long rest replenishes a level 1 spell slot on a critical hit, and down the line we might just find a way to ensure those happen a little more often, which potentially makes this an interesting item.
May you keep balance.
Now moving on, there is not that much more to do before we speak to Halsin by the sacred pool. We do want to explore Zevlor's secluded chamber once more though. As you can see, with all of the tieflings gathering outside, the place is now unguarded. That allows Astarion to pick open a chest that up until this point was inaccessible, and his new Rogue Ranger multiclass build still excels at sleight of hand checks, so a DC of only 10 is nothing to worry about. Inside the chest then we find a battle-worn blade statistically identical to a regular longsword, as well as some jewelry and gold that the tieflings apparently do not plan on bringing along. After also stealing a few clutter items and books, we can then make our way back outside. We pass the concealed hatch to the tiefling cave here, but that cave is unfortunately completely empty at this point, and we have grabbed all possible loot already. As you can see, Mattis's little merchant stand is also deserted, and apart from some water, there is absolutely nothing worth picking up here. That water, however, might just play an important role at the very end of the video. And so we now move on to the sacred pool, where we find Halsin and Kagha.
With the shadows vanquished, healing can begin.
Do not forget who invited those shadows. You have much to learn still.
And what of my future, Master Halsin?
Perhaps you will prove yourself worthy of forgiveness. Perhaps not. You imperiled the grove. I'm surprised you dare show your face.
I beg your forgiveness, Master.
Beg Sylvanas, not me.
I sought strength in the shadows. May Sylvanas forgive me.
At least you recognize your mistake. This is a beginning. A small one. You took it upon yourself to undertake the Rite of Thorns. I ought to exile you from this place. Forever. Instead, I shall listen to the explanation that you owe me.
An error most grave, Master. I beg your grace.
Grace is bestowed by nature, not me. You will stay as a novice anew. You have forgotten the ways of the druids, the natural order of things. It is up to you to prove the lessons have been learned once more.
So as you say. And so it is done, Master.
Right, harsh tone from Halsin here, but ultimately a penalty that is perhaps less than one would have expected, a fact that I think is worth pointing out here, considering that Kagha's transgressions were certainly nothing minor.
A misjudgment. One that should weigh heavily upon her. But the Grove still needs her passion. You will soon see why. But enough of that for now. I owe you my thanks. The Grove stands. Nature prevails. And again, I am in your debt. Speak to Wrath. He will reward you for your efforts.
Now, of course, our quest was always about more than just saving the Grove, so on that note, how do we continue from here?
The journey to Moonrise Towers, and all the dangers that entails. But that's tomorrow's problem. Take some time for yourself tonight. Rest, celebrate. Come morning, I'll be by your side.
Master Halsin.
Perhaps you will prove yourself worthy of forgiveness. Perhaps not.
And so Kagha wanders off, while Halsin will remain in the area for a little while longer, and we actually want to engage him in conversation a second time now.
Enjoy the respite. Come morning, we have matters to discuss.
Now, just to be thorough, let's hand him the letter that shows Kagha was working with the Shadow Druids, even though the matter seems to be settled.
This goes some way to explaining her actions. But she has been punished already, and the Shadow Druids have no power over her now. Time to let the wound heal. And thank you for your diligence.
At this point, we can also express our hope that the Grove is worth all of the effort. After all, we have seen plenty of conflict surrounding the place.
Believe me, it is. The span of a mortal life isn't enough to grasp the importance of this place. Its roots touch everything.
And finally, let's inquire about our little problem. Halsin seems to know much more about Moonrise Towers than we do.
Soon. First, I must set matters to rights in the Grove. And you should celebrate your victory. After being dormant for so long, your infection is unlikely to produce new symptoms spontaneously. Tomorrow morning, we shall discuss what is to come.
Right, so after a long and somewhat awkward pause, the matter seems to be clear. We're going to talk again in the morning, so let's not press the issue. Instead, we can explore a bit. To begin, we find the druid Magrin on the path to the Harpy Cove here, however, currently inhabiting his bear form and unwilling to speak to us. There is, however, another bear who is very much willing to speak to us. Orm down here will most definitely be happy to see Halsin returned.
He's back! You brought Halsin back! Thank you for finding my master. May your hibernations be long and calm.
Now, I'm not quite sure why. Sometimes you can get an extra 15 XP for speaking to him. We were not awarded those, so let's move on and speak to the other characters assembled here in the sacred pool.
Goblins at our gates, in our home. Sylvanas, mercy.
Finally.
Quiet. After everything that's happened, you still fought beside us. I don't know if we deserved your help, but I'm glad we got it.
The goblins are gone, but so is our idol. We are exposed without it.
Now, curiously, Apicuzis here is actually the only one commenting on the idol's theft, an idol that Sylvia still very much carries in her possession.
Don't you smell it? The monsters are gone, and the air is fresh with new beginnings. And speaking of new beginnings, I think it's time I found a mate.
I'm not singing your praises. You and the tieflings brought violence to this place. It wasn't our fight. You dragged us into it. Every drop of druid blood is on your hands. Remember that.
I wasn't sure about you at first. Thought you might be trouble. I was very wrong. Safe travels, wherever they may take you.
And, well, for now, they take us into the Emerald Grove's druid chambers. After all, Halsin told us to speak to Wrath about a reward.
You've done it. You brought Halsin back. Thank you. No, thanks is not enough. May Sylvanas bless you for all your days. I cannot imagine taking on a camp full of goblins was a simple task.
Well, all things considered, we definitely had more difficult fights. This is perhaps not the time to boast, though, so let's just show ourselves glad that everything worked out and Halsin is safe.
As am I. The grove will be whole again. And I promised you a reward, didn't I? Let me show you on your map where you can find the cache. Take this rune. You'll need it. Place it among the pedestals inside our library. When the wolf glows brightest, everything in the vault below will be yours.
Alright, and there we go. With that, the Save the First Druid questline is officially complete. We have been awarded the Rune of the Wolf, and speaking of wolves, let's speak to Silver next.
Quiet at last. Don't interrupt it.
And of course, Kagha also has something to say.
This is only the beginning. An army soon crosses the coast. With Halsin back, at least the Grove might stand a chance. And we've you to thank.
Right, ominous foreshadowing from Kagha here. Sadly, we cannot follow up on it, so let's speak to Findal next.
You're starting to feel like my personal bodyguard. I wish you were.
At this point, we can also make our way into the servants' quarters and speak to two druids who were never exactly keen on our presence.
I think it's high time you all left. Our sacred grove has sheltered you enough.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it shelter, especially not with this attitude. Not to mention that when the actual fighting started, the doors of these chambers remained sealed shut.
The dignity of the grove comes first. It cannot be tended to if its custodians are dead. Besides, you survived. I'll not apologize for my actions.
Now, as deserved as it may be, we are in a festive mood today, so we'll promise to be on our way soon. That is the truth, after all.
Make it quick. You're disrupting the harmony of this holy place.
Marcorial's companion Loic, then, is at least a tiny bit nicer to speak to.
You did this grove a great favor. Now leave the rest to us.
And once more, we don't plan on sticking around for too much longer. Before we leave, though, let's have a chat with Nettie.
I was certain your parasite had taken hold. I'm glad I was wrong. Thank you for saving Master Halsin. For saving my home. For everything.
And we'll take the chance here to point out that she is indeed lucky we did not use that wyvern poison. Otherwise, recent events may have gone a little bit differently.
Ha! Look, I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do when you told me about that tadpole.
And as a halfling, we have a special dialogue option here that we are going to choose. Home is worth protecting, and we can definitely see where Nettie was coming from.
Too right. Home is where you belong, not where you're born. This is where I belong. But here, to mend any hurts.
Pink, what else do we need?
So, we receive a pouch with some alchemy ingredients and can now speak to Nettie's bird.
There was so much noise out there. I'm glad you're okay.
And we're going to be even more okay in just a few moments, as we now make our way into the Enclave Library, a place that we visited once before and where we noticed that one of the runes on the 4 pedestals here was missing. Luckily, with the runestone that we were given by Wrath, we now have exactly what we need to fill that empty socket. So let's drag the runestone in there and then activate all 4 pedestals, which is going to give us access to the only room inside the Emerald Grove that we have not yet visited. And there we are, the statue in the middle of the room twists and sinks into the ground, we earn 10 experience points, and have just gained access to the Emerald Grove's hidden vault. We were specifically told that we are free to grab everything in here that we desire, so let's begin with the chest on the right here, which contains the Robe of Summer. It grants resistance to cold damage, but is otherwise a standard magician's robe, a decent piece of equipment for Will or Gale. On the table then, a druid note that shows the druid's desperation. Seems like, in light of the goblin threat, they asked for help and were told that none was coming. One more reason why they are likely glad that things worked out the way they did. Also on the table then we find a Sorrow, a +1 glaive, giving its wielder the ability to cast the Sorrowful Lash cantrip, which not only deals a bit of extra damage, but also pulls a creature closer, decently useful under the right circumstances. Finally, we have 3 chests on the left here that all contain a random assortment of useful items. The first one, some scrolls, including one for the spell Fly. The second one has a combination of toxins and poisons. And the third adds to our ever-growing supply of healing potions. Finally, there is also a book speaking of secret societies, naming the Harpers, the Shadow Druids, the Order of Clerd, and, crucially, the Dark Justiciars. Unfortunately, though, even with Shadowheart in the party, you will not get her to comment on this. We pick up the book either way, and with that we are now pretty much done. Let's make our exit. At the moment, all things point towards the next step being a festive celebration back at our camp. We have 2 more people to speak to though, and they're both tieflings, and the fastest way to get to them is with the elevator out of the sacred pool here.
Hope you won't miss this place. Don't think we'll be coming back anytime soon.
And we have saved one very special person for last. Her survival was certainly not guaranteed, so we're glad to see that Alfira is okay.
I'm going to have to write a song about you now, aren't I? But truly, thank you. It's nice to be done with the sad songs. For a time. And to playing for coppers in the corners of Baldur's Gate. I can hardly stand the glamour.
And with that, we can now approach and speak to Zevlor, a conversation that will allow us to begin the festivities.
We're ready to head to your camp. Are you?
One quick note at this point, if we agree, we transition straight to camp at night, so if there are any daytime camp activities or conversations to take care of, you should do those first.
Excellent. Lead the way.
Have a drink.
I'm fine.
Loosen up, Icaron.
No, an Albert.
So, there we are in our camp, and it's looking a little bit more crowded than usual. We have plenty of tiefling visitors, no druids unfortunately, except for Halsin, but the first person we're going to speak to is Lae'zel, who clearly indicates that she has something to get off her chest.
I have seen the Kithraki tear a screaming Neogi's legs from its belly to fashion into blades, yet they could not match your nerve today. It was enough to drive me to madness.
I smell their blood on you still. I smell your moisture. How torturous for us both that I'll never get a taste.
Oh, but do enjoy yourself this night. I intend to myself.
Right, long story short, seems like Lae'zel is truly not taking this well.
Come on, Alfie, make it spicy.
All right. Hearts a quiver. We raised our bows.
I can't afford to.
None of that poetic stuff. Something like Goblins swarmed, but we were brave and fried them all with a thunder wave.
Very dearly.
But that's not what happened.
Live a little.
Hence, with Lacrissa walking off, let us now approach Alfira ourselves.
This might be the wine talking, but I'm feeling inspired. Thinking of writing my next song about you. but I need an angle. Any ideas?
And we definitely want that song written. I think that fits Sylvia's character. And we've got to honor the ways of the bard whenever we can. So let's tell Alfira to be only as truthful as true poetry would permit.
But of course, you achieved something far beyond mere fact. That deserves to be remembered.
Right, we'll speak to her again in a few moments. For now, we can talk to Lacrissa.
Consider this a preview for when we get to Baldur's Gate. Remember, the first round's on me.
Right, sadly we don't actually get a drink or anything else from her. Well, let's turn to Scratch to lift us back up.
I like these people. They're joyful. It's contagious.
No surprise here that Scratch enjoys the festivities. Let's speak to Zevlor next, who should be delighted as well.
You have no idea how good it feels to see these people smiling. The singing we could probably do without, but even so, thank you.
Unfortunately, there are no further interactions possible with him at this point, and the same goes for Mole, standing on the other side of the stream here. She will only keep commenting on the idol of Sylvanus, but there is something else over here that we have not yet explored during any of our visits to camp, a magic mirror, and I think now is the perfect time to use it. This mirror lets us change Sylvia's looks from head to toe, and I think this celebration very much marks the end of a chapter for her, even if Act 1 is technically not yet complete. So we're giving Sylvia a new hairstyle here, a bit bolder, a bit more daring if you will, and also nicely emphasizing that right side of her face, where Volo's eye now sits comfortably and allows Sylvia to see invisible creatures. Moving on then, I think it's time that we finally speak to Halsin.
Go on now. Don't waste a night like this talking to me. We'll discuss your problem tomorrow.
Now, of course, Sylvia is not one to let herself get shooed away that easily. Let's propose a drink to celebrate.
In truth, I rarely imbibe. The stuff goes right to my head. Before you know it, I'd be breaking into song or declaring love to the first person I laid eyes on.
Well, sounds like a party to me, and Sylvia too can't see the problem. After all, this is probably the best time to let loose.
Then you have never heard me singing, which makes you very fortunate.
Well then, maybe there are other activities we can partake in. A proposal that does not sound ambiguous at all.
I'm sure there are. You strike me as extremely resourceful. But there are many grateful people here who want to spend time with you. I must not keep you all to myself, as enjoyable as that may be. Go on, enjoy yourself. Seek out some wine before it runs dry. There are a lot of thirsty people around here.
Right, seems like Halsin caught our meaning but did not wish to engage. Let's keep going then. Up next we have a chat with Gale.
Beautiful night, don't you think? Nothing like a brush with destruction to make one appreciate the majesty of the celestial canvas. It's a view I would once have shared with my companion, though definitely unaccompanied by such revelry. She preferred it when we were alone, curled up before a crackling hearth with some ancient, esoteric tome between us, ink glinting in the firelight.
And yeah, this does not sound like Mistra. As a matter of fact, it doesn't sound like a person at all. So just to make sure, he's not just talking about his cat, is he?
By a Gerawn's lost nose! No! Tara is not any cat. She's a Tressum. And given your confusion, I'm guessing you've never met one. They're brilliant creatures. Fine company for any self-respecting wizard. She'd be most impressed by our efforts saving these tieflings. Proud, even. And I've given her little to be proud of recently.
After I was afflicted with my condition, I locked myself in my tower for an entire year. I was inconsolable, wallowing in my self-inflicted tragedy. I've given up on myself. But Tara never did. It was her encouragement, her research that led me to my treatment. Once we knew that magically infused items were the key, she went out to find them for me. She saved my life. After so long being cared for by someone else, it feels good to have repaid the favor. Not directly to Tara, but to these poor tieflings. I'm sure she would approve.
As always, we'll abide by the rule of not commenting if we can also ask questions, so let's try to learn a bit more about what Tara is like.
You remind me of her somewhat. An expression you both share. When she gives in to her more feline qualities. A mouse trapped beneath her paw. Wish she were here for me to make a formal introduction. But I would never ask her to undertake such a journey. She's safer at home. Besides, she was always telling me I needed to spread my wings, so to speak. Find mortal friends instead of hanging onto Mistra's coattails. So that's what I'm doing. I hope.
Seems like Gale just let slip that he doesn't really have any friends. Let's get confirmation on that, not necessarily to tease him, but to simply learn a bit more about him.
Sadly not. If I'm being entirely honest, my social circle is rather small. More of a dot. Or a pinhead. I've got acquaintances, certainly. Plenty of colleagues. Friends? Those are precious indeed. I hope, though we've only known each other for a short time, I might be able to count you among that number.
Right, seems like Sylvia is firmly in the friend zone, exactly where we want her to be, by the way. And it is actually quite important here to confirm that status as just friends, so let's do exactly that.
Wine is to wit, as meat is to... Oh, can't bloody remember it. There I go then, proving your point. Perhaps we'd better leave it at that. My ineloquent tongue isn't worthy of your ear at present. Go, indulge in the frivolities. They're good for the heart. And mine will be all the lighter to see you enjoying yourself.
Maybe we should forget the city. Live out here, under the stars.
It's a bed and a roof for me. But off you go, Master Ranger.
Without you? No.
I love you.
I love you.
And Sylvia's here too. Time to interrupt these two lovebirds.
Sherry! That's infernal for cheers. Or possibly turnip. Do devils even grow turnips? Can't all be souls and flesh of the damned.
I need to dance. No, I need to lie down. Lie down. Then dance.
Right, let's leave them to it and approach Roland, Cal and Leah next. Seems like the mighty wizard is showing off his tricks.
Patience? Have you no respect for showmanship?
Having performance issues, Roland?
Hush you, and behold!
And once more, let's not ruin the festive mood and just give him a clap. Cal and Leah are doing enough teasing already.
Adoring applause? You're too kind.
Remember when he could barely cast that?
They grow up so fast.
Never have I met such troglodytes. Now, pass the wine.
Now that was not the only possible interaction with him. Let's speak to Roland again for a bit more dialogue.
An adoring crowd, fine wine. I dare say this place is almost civilized.
Now there is one remark here that seems quite fitting. All this time, Roland seemed so eager to get to Baldur's Gate, it is surprising he indulges in these festivities.
As did I. But Leah and Cal were so excited for tonight, I thought it cruel to leave. Once my training with Leroican is complete, I'll put on a real show for them.
And we can also get a few more lines out of Leah.
Look at them. How happy they are. We did that.
Well, let's not argue about who's really responsible here. The one task for tonight here is to have fun. Let's make sure everyone's getting on that.
Yeah. Don't tell Roland, but his magic show might be the highlight. He's been doing them since we were little. He'll make it big in Baldur's Gate. I know it.
And finally, a quick comment from Cal.
Are Roland and Leah actually getting along? I know you cut down a horde of goblins, but this is far more impressive.
And we're still not done. One more tiefling still remains.
Think of it. No more caves, no more tents, no more running away. We'll be in a city with roads and markets and homes.
Right, now at this point we want to venture over to this small strip of beach here, where we find Will all by himself and in a bit more of a somber mood.
Ah, hells. I was hoping you wouldn't notice I was gone.
Well, what can I say? Sylvia is a thorough one. Let's find out if there's anything bothering him.
I'm deeply proud of you. A touch less so of myself. In truth, I don't feel in a festive mood, and I didn't want to cast a grey cloud over the night. I'm a devil. I love the people from the Grove, but I unsettle them deep down, as I seem to unsettle everyone nowadays. You don't want a devil at your party. Horns this sharp will pop the balloons, you see, and the guests won't take kindly to scars quite so monstrous.
Right, looks like Will is still feeling down after Mizora's punishment. Perhaps we can cheer him up a bit by telling him that we don't really mind.
If only half the world had half the heart you do. But, off with you. This is your day. Have a dance. Enjoy the music.
Now, full disclosure, this is the point where you could initiate a romance with him if you're not already double dating. We are, however, and have no interest in pursuing a relationship with him anyway, so let's remain respectful of his wish to be alone.
Sometime alone beneath the stars, and I'll be back to my old self. Promise. Still, it's a night to remember. You've made sure of that.
Right then, moving on, Withers here unfortunately has no unique lines for the celebration. Right next to him, though, we can find another tiefling, isolated from the others.
Look at them all. Guzzling poison like we've the right to be happy.
Well, sounds like Ikaron here just doesn't want to be happy. Maybe a pint or two can help with that. Curiously, persuading him only takes a flat charisma check this time, but with a DC of only 5, it's easily passed.
Perhaps it'll make the evening more tolerable.
Alright, and that brings us to Shadowheart next, who we can have a rather interesting conversation with.
Everyone seems to be in high spirits. Strange. You know who I never thought I'd find myself caring for?
Well, it certainly can't be us, and the other options don't make much sense either, so clearly it has to be the Tiefling refugees.
Exactly right. Never gave them much thought. Certainly not that bunch in the Grove. Yet we came through for them. We saved their lives. Odd.
Well, is it really, or does it just feel like it because it does not align with the values of Shah, who seems to dictate so much of Shadowheart's life?
Something like that. I was taught to reject anything that distracted from Shah. But there'll be time for penance later. We should have had wine more often. More warming than the fire.
Alright, so moving on, it's time to speak to Astarion, who is unsurprisingly planning to celebrate the only way he knows how.
Here's my little treat, with their cheeks all flushed. You will come to my bed tonight, won't you?
Well, to be honest, a little treat is perhaps not the role we want to play, especially not considering we're playing a halfling.
Oh, I certainly can. It would be my pleasure. How about this one? All these accolades from the tieflings are nothing compared to the sound of my name, cried from your lips.
Now that certainly seems a bit more down our alley. Let's prompt him to keep going and see what else he's got in store.
Let me give it another go. Every part of your perfect body whispers temptation. It's as if the gods made you just to ruin me.
Now, let's not ruin the mood by bringing up Cazador's name. We can, however, ask for even more honeyed words, and Astarion does seem to be enjoying it.
I can go all night with the flattery. But is that really all you want? How about if I said these little words? Everyone's favorite. I love you.
Right, even for Astarion, that was unexpected, I would say, and perhaps also a little bit early into whatever we've got going on with him.
Well, It can be true. If only for tonight. Now, as much as I relish standing around and saying all my favorite lines at you, I'd much rather we got to experience each other's full portfolio of talents once again.
Now, I'm sorry if I disappoint some of you with this, but we're actually going to decline his invitation. Not only do we have to for achievement purposes, but he also seems a little too eager perhaps, somewhat understandable considering his past, but maybe not the kind of thing that Sylvia is looking for.
Well. Excuse me while I die of a broken heart. In all honesty, it's a shame. That time was special to me. I've gotten on my back 10,000 times or more and forgotten half of them. But you, I'll remember. Have a fine evening, dear.
Right, it hurts a bit to see him heartbroken, but it was all for a good cause, trust me. And that cause is none other than Karlach, whose romance is actually the only one that comes with an achievement in this game, and this celebration at camp here is the only point in the entire game that lets us initiate it.
Would you look at this place? All these people, happy because of us. It's nice to be somewhere where good is still possible, and with good potations too.
Now, before we tell Karlach how much we like her, let's ask if she's enjoying herself. After all, we don't want to catch her in a bad mood.
Fuck yes! I'm celebrating my freedom, and our friendship, and these folks' bright future besides. All I need now is a fire-retardant lover to get lost in till sunrise.
Well, perhaps we can help with that, but first, let's learn more about what parties were like in Avernus, just to get an idea of what we might be in for.
Not so much. You spend the whole time avoiding swords and schemes. Plus, people just get nastier as the night wears on. I tried to make friends at first. Learned my lesson fast. Better to keep to yourself in hell.
Good thing she's no longer in hell, so let's tell her that we've really come to enjoy her presence. Keep in mind though that this is only possible if you're not already romantically involved with 2 other characters, which is why we had to end things with Astarion.
I like you too. A lot. I'm sure you know that by now. Oh, gods. You know I want that more than fucking anything. I'll come find you when the others have gone to bed. Wait up for me, all right? Yes.
Right, so there should have actually been another dialogue choice in between her lines, essentially allowing us to confirm or back out of the proposal. For some reason we did not get that, and we are now going down this road, but believe me, that is exactly the plan. However, I think I should also point out that we could at this point speak to Astarion once more and agree to spending the night with him after all, and had we saved up Will's conversation, we could now try to initiate a romance with him as well. However, all of that would mess up the mechanics of actually being able to spend the night with Karlach, and once more, since this is the only point in the game that we can do so, we absolutely want to. Now, with that matter settled, let us speak to Icaron again, see if that drink has had an effect.
This party's a bit more bearable, thanks to that pint.
And before we head off to bed, we also want to approach Alfira and find out how that song is coming along.
Your song was coming along. Then things began spinning. Worry not, I shall return to it at first light.
And with that, we have exhausted all possible conversations for now, which means it's time to go to bed.
Buzz of celebration quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk. Your hand was sought by several, but there is only one night ahead. Whose company will you seek? At least for tonight.
Now, once more, had we rekindled the flame with Astarion or spoken to Will after breaking up with him, their names could now appear too. We want to confirm Karlach though, which won't impact Shadowheart's romance by the way, at least not for now.
Your heart skips a beat. What treasures might this night bestow?
Hey, you soldier. I think everyone's asleep. May I? Hello, you. I've been waiting for this all night. Isn't it mad? How good life is.
And since there's really only one option here that does not immediately kill the mood, let's go with that one, and let's set the tone for a night that will hopefully be more than just talk.
Thank the gods. I was afraid I was the only one. 10 years is a long time to be trapped in the hells. 10 years without a kind word. A touch. When I look at you, I feel real again. Alive. Gods, I want to ride you till you see stars.
Right, so Karlach is a straightforward one as well, but after Asterion and Lae'zel we're used to that. Nonetheless, she will catch herself a cheeky comment about it.
Guess not. I just feel what I feel. No sense hiding it.
Well, in that case, I suppose we might as well get to it, even if there are some logistical questions still unanswered.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't tease you, or myself. I'd give anything to touch you, but I can't. Not until I can be sure I won't burn you.
Now, Sylvia does not strike me as one who would give up that easily, so while we could agree to just keep our distance for now, how about just one kiss?
I'll turn you to charcoal. Guaranteed.
Well, we do have Wither standing by to resurrect us if things go poorly, so how about we just give it a try?
We can try, but don't hurt those pretty lips of yours, all right? They feature heavily in my future plans.
Now, we could pull away to protect Sylvia here, but Miss Hairyfoot likes to live dangerously, so let's go all in and see what happens.
Wait, no! Are you all right?
Well, Sylvia certainly doesn't look any worse than before, and whatever scars she took away from it were probably worth it.
You have no idea. If I weren't so worried about killing you, I'd be in a puddle on the floor. So, what do we do now?
Well, that is a very good question indeed. How about we try to learn a bit more about Karlach before we risk our life in the attempt to bed her?
Please. My life is an instant mood killer, and I'm enjoying this mood. Maybe even a little too much. I better head back to my bunk. You might not be able to touch me, but you give me a lot to think about.
I trust you enjoyed your evening. After all your efforts, it was well deserved. It may be some time before you're afforded another such night. There is much to be done, and I promised I would help you however I could. I'm certain a cure for you can be found at Moonrise Towers, but it's complicated. The journey specifically, it's extremely perilous, though it seems you're well accustomed to navigating danger.
Alright, with a romantic but ultimately somewhat disappointing night behind us, Halsin keeps his promise. Looks like we get to learn about Moonrise Towers, and it would be nice to know what actually awaits us there. Surely our quest can't be to just go there.
What? Were you expecting a spell? A potion? Or perhaps you thought I'd conduct a cack-handed operation on you right here? I won't be held accountable just because you're naive enough to expect easy answers. Now, allow me to continue. To get to the towers, you'll need to pass through a terrible place. A cursed place. This curse shrouds everything in shadow. You will not find life, light, or anything natural there. Any who linger are twisted by the curse. They become shadow beings, tormented, dangerous souls.
Now, Halsin seems to know quite a lot about both journey and destination. Let's try to find out why exactly that is. For all we know, he too has not been there himself.
Nature speaks to me. Birds report what they've seen. And I've overheard goblins speaking of it too. Moonrise is at the heart of all this. I'm sure of it.
Right, that does sound dangerous indeed, even for a party of our caliber. One thing worth questioning, though, is how the Absolute's forces can tolerate this place. After all, they had to make that same journey too.
So it seems, though I don't know how. You will have to choose your approach carefully. You could go overland, along the Risen Road or through the mountains. Easier at first, but you'll run into the Shadow Curse eventually. You could also go under. There is a tunnel somewhere in the ruined Temple of Selûne. It leads to Moonrise Towers through the Underdark. Long ago, a man called Ketheric Thorm built a secret stronghold deep down there, before rallying a whole army of Dark Justiciars, Shah worshippers. Aradin and his lot were looking for a way down there. They were promised riches if they retrieved a relic called the Night Song. But I think there's more. From this stronghold, Ketheric's forces could access both the Temple of Selûne and Moonrise Towers. But he was defeated before he could launch an attack. If you can find this place, I'll wager it will reveal a more direct path to Moonrise Towers. And maybe even bypass the worst of the Shadow Curse.
Right, two possible paths to take, but before we ask about either one, let's find out which of the two Halsin himself would prefer.
The decision is yours, but I'd favor the Underdark. Even a place like that is the lesser evil compared to the Shadow-cursed lands.
Well, that is all well and good, I suppose, but how would we get to the Underdark? It's not like the place has a clearly marked entrance.
You'll need to pick it up where Aradin left off. Find the hidden entrance. It's somewhere in the Temple of Selûne.
Okay, seems like we're heading back there soon. At this point then we can also state our preference, but this has absolutely no impact, except for 1 point of approval from Shadowheart if we choose the Underdark.
Anything is preferable to risking the Shadow Curse. I would like to join your camp, if you'll allow me. I can offer my skills, my counsel. I've long sought to return to Moonrise Towers. It seems our fates have aligned.
Now, very important, for what we know, Halsin is not infected with a Mind Flayer tadpole, so why would he seek to travel to Moonrise Towers?
Unfinished business, and a lifetime of regret to repair. I helped overthrow Ketheric Thorm and his Dark Justiciars years ago, but I failed to prevent him from unleashing darkness across the region before he was defeated. I spent years researching the curse, trying to put an end to it. Nothing has worked. Yet, if I can join you and get close to Moonrise, perhaps I can lift this curse. Same as you may find a cure for your infection.
Right, that sounds convincing, and it is probably also the reason for his initial expedition with Aradin and his party, which unfortunately ran into Minthara and her goblins.
Precisely. Then perhaps I could have done something about both the Shadow Curse and Ceramorphosis aberrations. But in my eagerness, I put far too much faith in the abilities of Aradin and his band. We didn't even get close.
At this point, we might also ask about the future of the Grove. After all, we saw firsthand what happened last time Halsin went away.
I've chosen a successor as first druid, Francesca of the High Forest. A bird's already been dispatched to summon her.
Right, someone from the outside, perhaps a good choice, but why not one already familiar with the Grove and its inhabitants?
Wrath has promise, but he has a ways to go yet. He wasn't able to stop Kagha by himself. The Grove needs experience and a strong hand. The Grove needs to move beyond the mistakes of the past. What it needs is an unknown quantity. An outsider who can enforce the Oakfather's teachings without bias. This is why I chose Francesca. She will restore simplicity and purity to the Grove in my absence.
Right, one last chance to comment on the decision then, and once more, considering what we have already witnessed, this may very well cause some resentment.
Resentment will spring up like mushrooms no matter what I do. You cannot please everyone, and you'd be a fool to try. Now, we've quite the journey ahead. Best get started.
Do not be so impatient to move on as Halsin. As ever, the Githyanki Kresh remains our priority.
Alright, and with that we have now officially completed the big main quest line of Act 1. The Tiefling refugees have been saved, the Goblins, at least the one in this part of the world, have been defeated, And we have our next destination already set. The only question that remains at this point is how exactly we're going to get there. Now, before we make the cut and wrap up today's episode, there is one more interaction we can have with Karlach. Let's try to find a way around that whole no-touching policy.
Oh, hi.
Now, of course, the whole no-touching thing goes both ways, so let's find out what it's been like for her before we try to seek for a solution.
Sad. I couldn't let myself feel sad in the Hells. Letting my guard down would have been a death sentence. And letting, say, a Cambion near me would have been disastrous. I thought it best to keep my distance. But loneliness that deep gets into the marrow. Now that I'm here, among friends, I can feel it burning out of me. Little by little. Step by step.
And of course, at this point, we want to express our desire to properly touch her, perhaps for more than just one quick kiss.
Where would you start?
Right, we're not going to get overly descriptive here. Let's just reference that kiss from earlier and promise to pick things back up where we left off.
All night. And then some. God, we better find a way to cool me off soon. I'm not sure how much more of this I can take.
Well, then I suppose it's a good thing we took that flask of water from Mattis's merchant stand, which we can now throw at Karlach to achieve some cooling off, albeit of course only temporarily.
Oh, this is clever. Might even work. Come here. I'm dizzy. And you? Are you all right?
Right, that seems to have done the trick, at least for a second or two. A carafe of water well spent, I would say.
I hope that's true. Because I'm hoping for seconds, thirds, and fourths once we find a way to cool off this engine.
And trust me, as soon as we find Dammon again, we will be right on that. After all, there seems to be much more of Karlach still left to explore.
Mine too. Soon enough, you're going to be mine. But until then, I'll play nice. I know you and Hairdo Girl have something happening, but keep a piece left over for me, I won't always be too hot to touch.
Right, so Karlach explicitly mentions our involvement with Shadowheart here. For the moment, she doesn't seem to mind too much though, and we can put her at ease that she won't get lost in the shuffle.
I will then.
Alright, and with that, and with some peace and quiet returning to our campsite, I think we have reached a good point to make the cut for today. I think we are on a good path, both in terms of romance and in terms of finding a way to Moonrise Towers. Next time then we will most likely explore the Shattered Sanctum a bit more to find that entrance that Halsin mentioned. For today though, we'll make the cut. As always, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. Of course, if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, you can go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or become a channel member or Patreon supporter. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Or Shari, as they say.